All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Duval County Rams fan, and had some time to get over last Sunday, and it's now time to move on to tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we will be facing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle for Thursday Night Football. It is the second primetime game for the Rams, and yeah, it's time to do a little bit of predictions. Really quick, however, I want to go over the injury report for the Rams and both the Seahawks, and as of right now, nobody we don't have anybody on the injury report at this moment. Everyone seems ready to go, which is good. McVay said Wednesday that all the players were listed will be good to go against Seattle, which is good. For the Seahawks, well, actually, let me take a look here. Yeah, so pretty much you just had we had actually a couple players. There was Darrell Henderson with his ribs. Taylor Rapp had a little thing with his ankle. Tyler Higbee had his something with his ankle too as well. Johnny Munt had a shoulder issue, and Whitworth was just resting. Though, however, all of them were limited Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday they were a full go, except for Andrew Whitworth, who did not practice. And according to Sean McVay, they will all be going. They're all good to go for Thursday night, which is good. For Seattle, they have quite their list is long, but it looks like the majority of them are looking ready to go. There is, if I'm looking, Chris Carson had a neck issue, didn't practice at all this week. That's interesting. Their running back, he is listed as questionable. And the other person who was questionable is Benson Mayoa, a linebacker. He also had a neck issue. Jeez, neck is a serious thing. You got to be careful with that. However, he was full the past 2 days, and he is questionable. But the only person they have that's going to be out is Dwayne Eskridge, the wide receiver, with a concussion. Now, I believe, if I could be incorrect on this, but I believe I heard somewhere in the NFL draft this past year that Seattle took this guy, kind of took this guy right out from under Sean and Les, because there was a rumor that perhaps and I think it was this guy, that they wanted Eskridge in the second round, but Seattle took him right before they were on the clock, and kind of surprised them, I guess. So that kind of left them with Tutu Atwell. Can't really confirm that, but I had heard that as a rumor. So that's kind of interesting. That's a little interesting, but he's not going to be playing. He's ruled out. He has a concussion. Um, and Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Seahawks, said that said it's going to be a game day decision with Carson and Mayoa with the neck injuries. So that's not a whole lot of injuries, but for us, a couple of questionables for Seattle, but nothing nothing too nothing too crazy there. Now, excuse me, the game, the game coming up. It's a pretty big one for the team. You know, we lost our first divisional game on Sunday against the Cardinals. You know, it's whatever. They beat up on us pretty good. You know, it's time to move on. even if we were to lose this game, I think we'd still be okay. But it would behoove us to not lose two divisional games in a row. That's just not that's just not a good idea. Now, this game's interesting. This game is interesting because the Rams need to be careful here because Seattle is, I believe, out for blood. They're coming for us hard because if you don't remember what happened last year, pretty much I've actually been waiting on this game because last year, if y'all remember, after the 2020 season, we were fighting with the Seahawks for control of the NFC West. It was really a just quick little recap of last year. Pretty much, it was a two-team race last year. You know, it was between the Seahawks and the Rams to win the NFC West. All right, we had effectively actually knocked out Arizona with John Wolford as our quarterback last year at the end of the season too, which is kind of crazy. Which is Arizona got a bit of revenge for that last Sunday, but that is something I actually did not realize that the fact that we had effectively kept them from the playoffs because while beating them, we were able to secure that kind of last playoff spot. Basically, we played Seattle in Seattle with Jared Goff still as a quarterback, and they beat us. Seattle beat us. Jared did not look good, and basically that was the infamous cigar game where pretty much Seattle wrapped up the division. They were NFC West champions, and they what's his name? Jamal Adams went ahead and celebrated by lighting up a cigar, and was just feeling good about himself as he should be. He won. The Seahawks won the division. It's always a good feeling when you win the division, and they won it fair and square. But the cigar was I don't know. It was a little. It was fine. Some people took offense to it. I didn't really care. It was just one of those things where the team won, so they kind of if your team wins the game, you have the right to brag a little bit. Unfortunately, like Arizona, I know Arizona fans are bragging a little bit about how they beat us. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. That stuff really doesn't bother me that much. But so when he did that, I just found it interesting because I was like, oh, okay. So he smoking a cigar, feeling himself a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Like, I think it was 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, it's the wild card round. And as fate would have it, the football gods went ahead and matched us up with Seattle. So the very wild card weekend had us going to their place in Seattle because it was obviously they won a division, so they get the home game, and Seattle wasn't the number one seed, so they had to play wild card weekend. We go up there, okay. John Wolford's cutting them up in the first quarter, all right, pretty much looking good. Then John Wolford gets knocked out by Jamal Adams. Okay, he basically Wolford was running the ball. He was a runner. Then he kind of jumped. He didn't slide, but it was evident he was giving up on the play. He was kind of he was kind of He was just like kind of just giving. He was just kind of going down. It was weird. He was just kind of going down. He wasn't really diving, but he was just kind of going down. And Jamal Adams hits him in the head. Personally, I did not feel that was necessary. I did not think it was clear Wolford was going down. I don't think Jamal Adams needed to smack him in the helmet. Okay, I don't think that was really called for. All right. It upset me. In real time, I was not happy with Jamal Adams in that moment. In fact, I was furious. I remember because I just remember thinking it was in real time. I thought it was kind of a dirty hit. Looking back on it, I still think it's technically not really a dirty hit because John Wolford was a runner and he did not slide. But it was I personally for me. This is just my opinion. He knew what he was doing. I firmly believe he knew what he was doing. That's just me. I could be wrong, but that look from what I saw, he knew what he was doing, Jamal Adams. And what infuriated me even more was the fact that there was no flag. From what I can recall, there was no flag. I think they even had Pereira kind of talk about it, and he's like, "Oh, there should have been a flag," which upset me because if that was I don't know Tom Brady or Drew Brees or any type of high-profile quarterback, oh Lord, they would have been clutching their pearls. They would have thrown that flag out. They would have flicked their wrist as hard as they could. Penalize the Seahawks. They couldn't have thrown that flag fast enough. But because it was our guy, John Wolford, who was a backup quarterback, there was no flag thrown. So it's at that moment I'm hot, and I stayed hot for the rest of the game because John Wolford had to be carted, had to be taken out. He actually had to go to the hospital. Okay, this man had to go to the hospital, dude. They showed a photo of him getting loaded up in the ambulance. He had the neck brace on. It did not look good. Did not look good. Now, it turned out that he was actually fine. He actually returned to the locker room. I think he was in the locker room at the end of the game. I know that for a fact. I don't know exactly when he came back, but Wolford was fine. There was nothing really serious. He just had like a sore neck, but obviously he was not coming back into the game. So, what happens next? Well, Rams Nation, as I'm sure you remember, our old boy Jared Goff comes in, who was suffering from a broken thumb. I should have said that right off the bat. He had broken his thumb, and which was why John Wolford started. So Jared Goff breaks his hand. I cannot remember against which team. The next game, he is ruled out the next game. Ironically, it's against the Arizona Cardinals. And John Wolford starts in place of him, defeats the Arizona Cardinals, makes me a believer, of which I love John Wolford. I actually would have been okay with him as our starter for the 2021 season had we not traded for Matthew Stafford. I would have been more than fine having Wolford as our starter. I still would be. I think he is a vital cog, and there's a good chance we may need him before the end, and I hope that's not true, but he's someone who, if we would have gotten rid of, I would have been furious, and I would have been on this mic just ranting about it for hours on end, probably. But John Wolford is one of my favorites. Aaron Donald has said many good things about him. Has said he's a hard worker. He stays late. He practices. You never heard that from Jared. You never heard Aaron Donald say that about Jared Goff. But he said that about John Wolford, which was interesting, which says something right there. So that sparks a whole quarterback controversy, all right? This is all important to the story, okay? McVay decides to go with Wolford against Arizona. He does well enough to win. There's rumors that Goff could have started somehow against the Seahawks, which was like 2 weeks later. I don't I don't see how that could have been possible, but there was that story, and Goff certainly felt like he could have. But they went ahead with Wolford, so Wolford started, but Wolford gets knocked out. Jared Goff comes in there with a broken thumb and puts up 30 on Seattle. In Seattle. Effectively knocking them out of the playoffs like 2 weeks after they had just beaten us to win a division. And yes, they won a division by beating us late in the season, of which they responded by smoking cigars, or at least Jamal Adams did. I don't know if anyone else did that. So, as a Rams fan, in a good-spirited competition, there's no hate here. It's just fun, spirited, competitiveness. It felt so good to come back 2 weeks after our division rival beat us to win a division, to then for us to turn around, go to their house after they were smoking cigars, beat them in their house with a quarterback that has been ragged on. Jared Goff takes a lot of heat. He's taken heat from me, myself. He comes in there with a broken thumb and drops 30 on y'all. And Jamal Adams was on the field for that whole game. I know he was. I saw him. And Jared Goff still torched him. So that felt so good. So good. And we kicked him out of the playoffs, effectively humiliating that franchise. Even if they won't admit it, it was quite evident that we did. Because it seemed like throughout this offseason, they went out of their way to get ready to beat us. I know they hired Shane Waldron, like I think he was like an offensive assistant. They got rid of Schottenheimer, who I was glad they kept him for as long as they did. We had Schottenheimer as a OC for quite some time, and I couldn't stand him. He's the most bland and basic play caller. But they got rid of him, so they retooled their offense. They're going to let Russ cook a little bit. And now this is the first time we're meeting them since then. So I think it is safe to admit that they're looking at this as a revenge opportunity as well. They're hungry. They want to beat us. And if last week was any evidence, Arizona came out, smacked us in the mouth because they were a little upset at us too for effectively costing them a playoff spot last year. And now, 1 week later, we face a team of which we booted out of the playoffs, and just completely embarrassed them. So yeah, I think Seattle has had this game circled on its calendar for a long time, and I believe their fans have as well. So and the fans will be back in the stadium. I should mention that there were no fans in the stadium in that playoff game last year because of all the craziness going on. But they'll be back Thursday night. So it was easier for us to win that game because they weren't there. Now they're going to be there, so it's going to be a lot harder for us. So the drama. There was a lot of drama with this game. I am very interested to see how the Rams respond. I know I kind of went long there for a little bit, but let's take a look at some keys for the Rams to win here. So, going back to Seattle, the first thing we got to do is stay disciplined in the second and third levels of the defense. I agree. Fewer mistakes by the linebackers in secondary, the better. I was really hard on the linebackers and the defense as a whole last week, rightfully so, to be honest. But yeah, like Kenny Young, Kenny Young got juked Kyler Murray juked the crap out of him on one of the 3rd and 16s, but it's not like Kenny Young is garbage or anything. Kyler Murray's just. If he plays like that the whole season, he might win the MVP. Honestly, so it's not like Kyler Murray was playing out of his mind. So it's just one of those things sometimes that you just get whipped. But the linebackers in the secondary, despite how good he is, need to play better. So we need to see that. Russell Wilson is similar to Kyler in terms that he's very mobile and he has a cannon of an arm. So we must contain on the second level on the edge. We can't let him wheel around on the outside and pick up like 20 yards. Just we can't do it this week, guys. Raheem Morris, get on their ass. Get on the defense. Tell them that they need to be technically sound. Do your job. Mind your gaps. Keep your contains. We can do this. We play Seattle well. They're going to be tough. They just beat San Francisco last week, so it's going to be a tough game. But if as long as you mind your assignments, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Jalen, the guy he thinks Jalen's probably going to be on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett the whole game, and that's probably true. I'd agree with that. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett are their best receivers, and we can't let them torch us like AJ Green did last week. We cannot get torched like we did last week. We cannot. Wilson will tear us apart if we are not sound in our secondary. So must have to do that. Must. Play a clean game offensively. I agree. As first mentioned, the Seahawks rank last in the league in total defense. Oh, wow. So on paper, there's clear opportunity for the Rams' offense to bounce back from last week's performance. That being said, the only way to properly take advantage is to minimize penalties and, more importantly, turnovers. Playing a clean game also means strong nonverbal communication in what is expected to be a loud road environment. And yes, like I said, fairly sure Seattle is not too happy with us considering how last year ended. So I am sure there will be noise. They're loud up there. And I'm sure they're going to let us know how much they were displeased with last year's results. So we are going to have this is going to be another test. Man, this is going to be another test for us. And there's a big chance our offense could be out of sync early in the game. So Sean, what does that mean? Make it easier on our boys. Run the football, get everyone settled, quiet the crowd a little bit, kind of deflate that defense because they're going to be coming in hot. They're going to be coming in hot for sure. Maybe this is a game where we kind of lean heavy on the run to help get us by, because I can see it now. I can see where Stafford overthrows or underthrows Kupp, or the communication just isn't there, just simply because of how loud it is. We can't let the 12s affect us in this game. That's easy for me to say that sitting in my chair, sitting in my lazy boy with a beer, watching the game. It's easy for me to say that, I know, but we cannot let them do that. Okay, so if that means calling simpler plays, calling some power run plays, I think we need to do that. Okay? Moving on. Make Wilson a spectator. Yep. Simply put, the easiest way to prevent Wilson from making plays is to keep him off the field as much as possible. That is true. Long, sustained scoring drives for the Rams' offense and creating takeaways from the defense. There is Sean. Sean, you hear that? You hear that, Sean? I want to see longer, sustained drives on offense. I want to see us Slow the game down. Like Samuel Jackson says in The Hateful Eight, we got to slow it down. We got to slow it way down. All right? Slow it down. Get everyone settled. And kind of go. I want to maybe 7-10 minute drives. We got to give our defense some rest. We're not helping them by being on the field for a short amount of time. And the way this defense is already set up, it's designed for them to be on the field for a long time because they like to give up a lot of cushion. We can't do that tomorrow, okay? We're going to play right into their hands. Wilson's going to tear us apart if we do, okay? So, longer, sustained drives from the offense. I want to see more discipline from our offense. So that means no turnovers, no false starts. That's going to be difficult in Seattle, I know, but we can't have any penalties. No turnovers. We need to be more disciplined in our route running. Matthew, we need to be more disciplined too. I know you will, but you have to do it too. I need to see more discipline and just Sean, smart play calling. Don't get too cute. If you feel yourself panicking a little bit, and I'm not trying to throw shade, I promise you I'm not. Okay? It's just as an observation, it appears like you panic sometimes, which is evident where you pass 7 times in a row last week at Arizona when you had a perfectly good running game that was working for you. So I'm just saying, if the team looks flustered, if you get flustered, slow the game down, call some runs, settle everybody down. Okay? Then once you get settled, then bomb it and try to quiet that crowd early. We need to do that. And on defense, I want to see shorter drives on defense. I want to see some 3 and outs. I want to see some turnovers. I want to see Aaron Donald put Russell Wilson under duress. He was relatively quiet last game. Props to the Arizona O-line, but we can't have you quiet, Aaron, okay? We need you to perform. We need you to get pressures. At the very least, sacks would be ideal, and stuffing the run. So, and we need to get some turnovers too. We have not been getting enough turnovers on defense. Have we even got any? I'm sure we have. Yeah, I think we have. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But, yes. If we do that, I think we'll be okay. It's going to be tough. Okay? Last week I was a little overconfident. I thought we were going to blow Arizona out. And boy, oh boy, was I wrong. And did I sure as heck have to eat some crow because of it. From all my friends who were giving me a hard time because I was kind of boasting that we were about to whoop up on Arizona. And Arizona smacked us around. So I had to eat that. So this week, Seattle's going to come in. Seattle's going to be hungry. They've had this. I am telling y'all, Seattle has had this game circled the entire offseason. So they're going to come out swinging, okay? It's going to be tough. Seattle's tough. It's always a tough game with them. But I think we can do it. I think we are the better team than Seattle. I think we have ways to exploit them. But it will be tough. We will get their best tomorrow night. So we need to be technically sound. We need to be disciplined. And we need to play our game that we dictate. Not that we don't let them dictate. We dictate how the game flow goes. We do. Okay? I don't care about the crowd. Don't worry about them. All right? We have to dictate the game. So I believe it will be a one-possession game. I want to say the defense needs to prove to me they can play a little better. So I think Seattle gets some points on us. I think it's gonna be I've heard the weather's kind of dreary, so there might be a little bit of rain. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 27-24. Us Rams win. Possibly on a last drive field goal, not necessarily last second, but a final drive field goal to put it away. I think. I think it would. I think it'll come down to something like that. To whoever has the ball last, and I think we get it. I think we do. We have a history of bouncing back in a big way after a loss, and that was a bad loss last week. We got humiliated, so expect the Rams to come. Seattle needs to expect the best from us too, because we have a history of playing on fire after a loss. So that's good news for us. So Sean McVay has rarely lost 2 games in a row. So 27-24, I believe, is the final score. I believe we win. I think it will be a tough game. I think it will be a very physical game. I think it's going to be loud. It's going to be loud. It's going to be loud. But we got to remain technically sound. We got to maintain our discipline, and we can do it. I know you boys can do it. Okay. I can be very critical of the team, but it's all from a place of love, Sean. It is all from a place of love. I love this team. I love watching this team. I've loved this team since I was a boy. I think this team is still, despite what happened last week, one of the best teams in the NFL. I believe our odds to make a deep playoff run are higher than most of the other teams, but I'm not going to get too much further than that. As I've said before, I don't like to look ahead too much, so I think we can do this. We can do this, guys. We can do this. So I've rambled on long enough. This has been a game I've been really itching to get to. I've been really wanting to see it because I've been looking forward to this game too. Forward to this game too. It's going to be quite hostile. I think there's going to be some heavy hits. So on both sides, Seattle's going to come in booming. I think we're going to come in hot too. So let's get it. All right, I'm gonna stop it right there. But that's going to do it for now, guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow on the next one. I'll do an instant reaction after the game. And yeah, 27-24 Rams. That's my prediction. And yeah, let's do this. As always, go Rams. Go Rams, guys. Let's go.